mechanical engineering and biomedical engineering. I'm the associate director here at Purdue. I've been with the Office of Professional Practice going on about 8 years now. Francisco is our assistant director of global projects, helps out with our global program, the GEAR program. Jenny, you're here. Can you introduce yourself?
Hey all, I joined the office last November. I've met quite a few of you, but I help oversee co-ops and communication.
And we have Barb, who's also here. Oh, you're on mute, Barb.
Hi, better. Good afternoon. Probably know most of you. I've been with OPP for about 17 years and really enjoy working with everyone.
And we have Tina, who's here as well.
Hi, I'm Tina. I'm the student information specialist. I mostly work with student records, but that allows me to interact with you folks as well.
And then additions to our office, we have started employing lots of student employees, which we haven't really done in the past. So this year we have 10 undergraduate TAs who are helping us with some courses that we're running in the office, and also mentoring students. All of these students happen to be upper level co-op students or students in our GEAR program. We have 3 graduate TAs and then also 1 undergraduate student helping us with communication. So lots of student activity going on in our office these days. So go on to the next slide. We are working across with having employer relations with over 400 employers. We're working with faculty and co-op coordinators throughout 48 different disciplines. We have co-op coordinators in each academic discipline that does co-op. So we're maintaining those relationships, and those people are also here to support our co-op program and students within it. We're engaged with over 1,400 students who are active in our program. In our GEAR program, which is our unique global program, we now have 550 alums working all over the world in that. And then you see some of the colleges that we work in, but still the majority of students that we're really working with are within our College of Engineering. We have a variety of different programs. We'll talk a little bit about our co-op programs at the undergraduate. We have 2 certificate levels, the industry co-op and extensive industry co-op level. A new co-op program that we're launching, Learning While Working. Interns for Indiana, we won't really discuss so much, but that's a program that we're running with startup organizations here in the state of Indiana. We've launched Milestones technical courses. These are non-credit technical modules that take up about 15 hours of time on things like learning how to do Python coding or learning how to work with Arduinos or Raspberry Pi. These are offered for free to students. We're trying to engage students at early levels, usually first year or second year students, to do these. And by picking up these technical skills, we hope that that makes them more marketable for opportunities at your companies and better prepared for industry in general. And then our OPP course, one of these courses that I mentioned, Engineering 103. This is offered to all first year or engineering students. This year we have 250 students engaged in this course this fall semester. Talk to them. We have it Mondays at 4:30. Met with the students on their very first day here, and we're engaging students in building their professional skills. So they're working on resumes, they're working on LinkedIn profiles, cover letters, how to engage with employers. As we move through the semester, we'll be in touch with many of you, actually, because we're hoping to have a lot of industry connections and networking opportunities within this course. But we're really excited because we've basically tripled the size of the course from last year. We had about 70 students last fall. This year we're up to 250, and we hope to keep expanding that from there. And then we also have our global opportunities, which we won't spend a whole lot of time on today, but some of you know our GEAR program and others. So I wanted to give a rundown of where we were at in regards to the co-op program at Purdue and how we've been administering this for several years. So co-op has been around for 65 years. The mainstay program that is our oldest is what we would have called and maybe still call the 5-session co-op program. And you see that it's an alternating pattern. Students would start this program after their first year and then go back and forth between work and studies. In that model, we were very much concerned that the student would do all of their co-op rotations with the same employer. And it was really about the start of the relationship the students had with the employer at the start. If a student were to get into this model after their first year, they would stick with that employer for five sessions. But if they were to decide that they could not go back to the employer, or the employer did not want them back in the program, the student would be removed from co-op and not able to get a co-op certificate at the end. We also created, maybe about 15 years ago, a model called the 3-session model for co-op. This allowed students to start after their second year. They could only start the 3-session program after the second year. And again, they would be working with the same employer for all three co-op sessions. And about 5 years ago, we decided that, you know, the number of students in the program isn't as large as it could be. A potential impediment for some students is the idea that they would be locked into working with the same employer for 3 or 5 times even, especially for those early students, the first year students, thinking of only working with one employer 5 times. That was an impediment for some. So we created something called the Flex Co-op, which would allow students to work with an employer 2 times and then potentially have the opportunity to change employers or stick with the same employer for up to 5 terms. So and all 3 of these programs were different programs, different routes, and not very flexible within our university system in terms of how students would transfer from one or the other, or if they would just be released from the program. So Jenny and I had the opportunity to talk with many institutions around the United States about their co-op programs. There's actually a co-op ranking done by US News and World Reports. Last year, we ranked number 13, I think, on that list. Not really sure exactly how they come up with the ranking, but that's where we were. And we talked to all the universities that were higher than us on that ranking to learn about how they did co-op and what their definition of it was. And we found a lot of varieties in terms of the way that companies did co-op, or universities did co-op programs. Mm-hmm. We still had a lot of universities who strictly did rotational models like this, but they were required for their students to do those rotational models. At Purdue, we don't require co-op. It's an optional thing where students go and get a certificate for completion. So that makes us a little bit different. And then the second thing, we found that the duration of a co-op time span was different at different places. If we went and we talked to Northeastern University in Boston, Northeastern was ranked number 1 for co-ops, and their idea of co-op is 1 6-month placement. That students don't have to do multiple placements to be considered co-ops, just 1 6-month placement. And thus, when we talk to companies who are in the Northeast, who are familiar with working with Northeastern, that is also their definition for co-op. So taking in all of this information, we wanted to come up with a more flexible idea of what co-op is at Purdue. And what we've created is basically 1 co-op program with 2 certificate levels. So a student at Purdue can enter co-op at any time after they've completed their first year. The tenets of the co-op program at Purdue is that the student must gain at least a year of work experience, and that would result in a minimum of 3 working terms for that student. at least one of those working terms have to be during our academic semester, so they can't be 3 summers. We want students to have longer term engagements with employers. And we also want students to have a progressive experience. And what we mean by a progressive experience is we would like students to do at least 2 work experiences with the same employer in order to qualify for the co-op certificate. Now, students can do up to 5 with the same employer, and we still want to encourage that because we believe that progression is really important, but it's not going to be a strict requirement like it was in our program in years past, where if something didn't work out for the student and the employer after a certain number of work experiences and they couldn't go back to the employer, they were then out of the co-op program. Instead, it becomes a little more flexible. And then students who go to a further extent and maybe start their co-op experience after their first year and get all the way to 5 work experiences, more than 18 months, will be able to earn an extensive industry co-op certificate. The way that this now works for employers, and we'll talk a little bit about that when Barb shows you how we have this in the site. We still want our co-op employers to basically agree to a long-term engagement with students, knowing that Purdue is looking for those students to work at least 2 times with those employers. That 2-time experience could be rotational, or it could also be in sequence. So it could be 2 of our academic periods in a row. It could be summer and a fall together. It could be as many as 3 academic periods in a row, a spring, summer, and fall all together. But we're looking for companies who are looking to engage students multiple times. And we also believe that you can still post and try to find students who are going to engage with your company as many as 5 times. So that's an option for you. It's just that student, and for our purposes, will commit to twice. After those 2 times, it's up to the relationship that you have built with the student and your co-op program to keep that student going back. We will certainly be encouraging students to go back to the same employers multiple times, because as I said, we do believe that that is one of the best ways students can build their careers. So talked a little bit about some of these benefits. This ends up being a little bit more flexible for the students. As we started talking to students more about this new model, students very interested and like this idea. It also provides some more flexibility for employers, especially in terms of the way that you structure your co-op programs in a way. Rotational, I think, is still great and what we're looking for, but you also have the opportunity to have these longer term work sessions that could be sort of multiple academic periods at Purdue. And then the other thing is this does help us with international students. There has been more scrutiny in terms of international students who apply for CPT authorization to work in the US during their academic field. Purdue has been, our ISS department has been pretty adamant that the work experience be something that's mandatory for their academics. Most of our degree programs at Purdue do not require work experiences, so it's sometimes tough to justify giving students CPT for internships. However, since the co-op program has an academic certificate attached, international students participating in co-op will be able to get their CPT approved and use the full 12 months that they're allotted for that. All right. So I think before I go on to the next phase, I just want to open it up and see if anybody has any questions they want to comment on about some of these policy changes.
Joe,
Yeah.
maybe before we go to questions, do you want to talk about the importance of offer letters stating 3 and 5?
Yeah, I would say this. So if your company would really like students to work for you 3 or 5 times. And that's stated in the student's offer letter. We will expect the student will go back to what they committed for. So if they commit to 3 or 5 work experiences with your company in the offer letter, we will honor that, and we will sort of enforce that with the students. However, I will say that most offer letters these days are not offers for 3 or 5 work sessions. They're mostly offers for 1 work session. And we do know that our companies are going to employ the students again. But unless it's in the offer letter, I don't think that we're going to enforce a certain, other than we'd like them to have that progressive experience to experience. We're not going to enforce beyond that. So I open it up in case anyone has questions before I move on to the next topic. Bernie asked, is there a cost for a student to register for the 0 credit co-op course? And the answer is yes. Purdue does have a cost for that co-op course. It's set at $400. In terms of other universities, that's about around the amount, or potentially even less. I think we're less than Cincinnati on that co-op course fee. But Purdue generally would charge for a 0 credit course the equivalent of 1 credit tuition. Our co-op fees are set with a special course rate. That special course rate is set at $400, which is actually a little bit less than 1 credit for in-state tuition, and a whole lot less than 1 credit for out-of-state tuition. I should say that one of the goals for us in the next year is evaluating our co-op courses and the types of reflections, the types of assessment, the type of feedback that they are getting from their employers. And we're looking to revise those things, hopefully make those more valuable, and also add some sequence to those. So build upon each experience. Each time you take the second of the sequence of co-op, that experience builds on the first one. Okay, well, if we don't have other questions, we can come back to that. The second topic is wanted to talk about a new program we're launching, which is we're calling it Learning While Working. The idea of this program is to be able to give students a year of work experience and potentially reduce their time of graduation. So in our typical co-op program, students will take 5 years to graduate. We're interested to seeing if we can reduce this to probably more realistically 4.5 years. However, students have a lot of applicable credit that they bring in from high school, maybe even 4 years. And the idea of this is for students to do a 1-year continuous work experience. So basically the equivalent of 3 co-op work sessions, but all in sequence. During their co-op work session, we're looking at having those students take a minimum of 1 3-credit course online. We're looking at trying to help those students engage with online courses that will be helpful for their work experience, as well as helpful for their degree. And then the other component of this is looking to find ways that part of the work experience can count for credit here at Purdue. So we're looking at carving out maybe 10 hours, for example, of the student's 40-hour work week to work on an engineering project that could be mentored by Purdue faculty member and a person within the company. And we can set deliverables and requirements for the project and be able to provide credit for it at the same time. So this will get us up to about 5 credits per academic term, allowing students to get a 1-year experience while earning 15 to 18 credits that be useful to their degree. We are starting to pilot this. There's 2 companies that we are working with right now that we're starting to recruit for and will engage with students working for the full 2022 year. So they're hiring for the spring. And the 2 companies we're working with GM and Cummins on that right now. So we'll be piloting this. We'll have a whole lot more information about how this is working out to go forward as we move into 2022. And if successful, we hope that we can keep growing this program with other companies and other, especially our co-op employers, putting that out there to engage with you and seeing how we can engage groups of students to potentially do year-long work experiences through learning while working.
Joe, is this
Yes.
year-long experience on-site, virtual, a mix of both?
Well, I think it's going to be somewhat customized with the companies that we're working with. So it's a kind of a high level engagement to talk about this. The 2 programs we're piloting is going to be on site. So those will be on site, and the students, the academic course that they take at Purdue will be online, and the project will be working on that with Purdue faculty member remotely.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
That online course quite flexible on time, depending on what hours the student would be at work? Are they able to fit that in whatever time works for them, or are there specific times they need to be online and engaged with the course?
The idea is that they would be taking asynchronous online courses. So hopefully courses that would allow them to engage in that course in the evening outside of work hours. Okay, we may go back and we can talk a little bit more about questions about that at the end as we have time for Q&A. The next thing we wanted to show you was how it looks in our Simplicity database for posting according to our new policies on co-op, some of the changes we made there. So I think, Jenny, maybe you'll stop the screen share, and I think we'll let Barb take over and she'll kind of show you that.
All right. We should see my screen with Hannah on there. Okay. One quick second here and we'll be all set. All right. What we have here on the first part is exactly what you all should see when you log in. If we have any announcements or anything for you specific, if we're doing any events, that'll all pop up here. In terms of doing a posting, you'll come over here on the left-hand side is where I go in. You can also do it on the right with that little click button, but click on opportunities and post an opportunity. Then you scroll down here to the middle and click on this black bar that says post an opportunity. I'll slide that over just a little bit. Okay, when you come down through here, your first one here is to copy or repost. If you've posted with the,
Barb, did you click post an opportunity?
I did.
I don't know.
I'm
if
sorry.
It, I don't know if it caught up on our. Oh, okay. Did yours go to a different page?
Mine did. Do you not see that?
You might be presenting a program and not your screen. I've done that before.
Okay. So what do we do here now?
So Barb, when you hit share screen again, it will pull up a window of different screens. Make sure you click on the one you want us to see.
Okay, so let's try it again then. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How about that?
There we go.
Okay, we'll just go back home and start over. Sorry about that. Okay, so you come in here, here's your announcements. We went through that. Then over here on the left, you have the opportunities and post an opportunity. If you scroll down here to the middle in this black box, it says post an opportunity. Click on that. Is that working now, guys?
Yep.
Okay. So then here in the middle, right here at the start, we have copy or repost. If you've posted with us before and have an approved posting in our system, you can click on it. And that's going to bring everything. I'm going to scroll real quick here, but that's going to bring all this up, what you'd filled out before. And then you can just go in and make simple changes. So you don't necessarily have to start from the beginning on that. However, if you don't have that, you'll come in and you're going to select your position type. For everyone in this group, everything will always be under industry opportunity. All of those other categories are for Purdue use only. When you do that, you take your position type. We're going to assume most people are looking at co-op. And then here's where Joe was talking that you can do rotational or sequential. So for purposes of demonstration, let's take rotational. And then we're going to pick 3 session. The next one, you do your term. So we'll just say summer of 22, and we'll give it a title. From there, this is your description, which is pretty much the meat and potatoes of your posting. You want to put in here all of the details around what the student's going to do for you, what your expectations are, whether you're looking for additional education, any of that type of thing. You can also in there put in links. Perhaps you want the student to apply online. You can link them back to your website. Or if you have videos or maybe handouts about what it's like to work at your company, again, you could insert links down at the bottom of that. This number of openings here actually goes back, way back in years past. We used to use it to regulate how many students you could interview. We opted to leave it here so that the students have a feeling of what their opportunities are maybe with you. Are you looking for 1 person or are you looking for 20? It just kind of gives them a feel for what your hiring practice is. The location here, any of them with these stars are required. What we're looking for there really is your city and state. And maybe if you have multiple, you could put in maybe your home location and then maybe hyphen varied locations, so that or multiple locations, something along those lines. Then down here for resume submission, if you click email, you're going to get a notice every time someone applies. If you click accumulate online, you're going to be able to have them all held online for you, and then you log in when your deadline comes up, and then you can see them all. You also have the option to click both, so you can do both of those if you wish. Here's where you would put in your email address. Then from there, your email address is for who's going to receive those applicant notices. Additional documents, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, cover letters, transcripts, etc. And then if you have any specific notes around them. This button here, display contact information. If you do that, this is what the student will see. They then will be able to reach out, email you, phone you, send, snail mail, but they will get it all. So that is your choice. Posting dates, this is your start date, the day it goes live, and then this is the day you want it to expire. For work authorization, you have a couple choices. This first one here is a US citizen. The second one would be anyone with a green card and/or student visa. They do have the right to work in the US. That's kind of a shared one there. Should you want both? Right now, if you pick this, it's only US. If you pick this, it's only student visa. If you want both, you simply hit the shift button and make sure that both are highlighted. Then we have some desired skills. This one, if you type, for instance, it'll start popping up some of the common things that employers are looking for. And if it's not there, then you can enter in your new ones. And we can put up to 10 of those of things that you specifically need for this position. The salary level is up to you on how you enter that, whether you wish to do it hourly, monthly, or annually. You can do attachments. I don't see a lot of those, but if there was brochures or something along those lines, you could attach them there. Then we get down here to the screening part. You're going to add a major. So you would come through here and pick. These are all of the people that, or excuse me, all of the students that you're interested in looking for. And then they'll pop up here for you to see. Your degree level, pretty self-explanatory. I think most of us will be in the undergraduate level. And then you have your GPA. And then you just hit submit. And I'm not going to do that because I don't want this one to go through, but that would pretty much be done there. I am going to stop this and come to that other screen that I had up and show you real quick. If you notice this one for Hannah, she has alerts up on the top here. So she actually has a live posting in our system right now. And she has 32 students who have applied, and she has 1 resume packet. So once you start getting your applicants, if you click on, those 32 students and scroll down, it's going to show you all of her applicants right here. And then some things that she can do with that. Over here in this little button, she can send an email if she wants to reach out. She can mark it as reviewed, or she can mark it as interested. What that does is it gives you a sorting feature under this little button right here where it says batch options. Excuse me, I'm wrong. Let me back up. I got ahead of myself. On that review right there, if you come back up here to status and click review and tell it to search, now you're going to get your batch of just the reviewed or just the interested. And then you can come under batch options and generate email books or save it as an Excel sheet based on how you have sorted or categorized your students. Then the last thing that you can also do there, I'm going to clear that batch so that we've got everybody and uncheck Rosemary. You've got your applicants. If you don't want to go through the statuses, you can make a quick resume book. So you just click that. There's everyone. Under here, generate a book. And then you're going to come through here. Basically, I just leave this alone. I have not had any reason to change it. And you submit request. And then that's going to bring you back right here where you'll have one resume packet looking to download. So then you would just click on that and then you can do your downloads. So I think that's probably the most of it. I'll give you back, or wait a second, see if you have questions, and then we'll give you back your screen.
Barb, I have a question on the,
Sure.
because I put like our files in, like some other files, like a flyer and things like that, presentation in, and I can't seem to find it. I don't know where, when you're looking at opportunities and such, I can't seem to find, like in the applications or the archived opportunities, where do you find your what you
Old
put in
ones
there?
or your files?
The current ones? In other words, I put in a current job posting in there and I can't seem to find it anywhere.
Okay. Let's just look. You don't, I should ask, you don't mind if I pull you up on here, do you?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I guess it's okay.
We're gonna do it now.
So, okay, how did you get to that
Okay,
That's that screen that you have, that like that bar you have above there. I don't have that.
you probably do not. That's a really good question because I always have that bar.
I'm just trying to look for our posting and I can't seem to get to it.
All right. Let me find it and I will work with you one-on-one. I'll send you, because it should have been when you had your opportunities, it should have been in that list as an archived. If it's not, let me go in and see if I can find it. And I will get something to you and explain that to you shortly.
Okay.
Because I would think it right here,
Yeah, I went there and I just get like
nothing.
nothing.
Okay.
I get
Do you
kind of
know
what
what-
kind of what
Do
you
you know
see
what
there.
the job title was?
Co-op position, I think.
How'd you spell co-op?
CO-OP probably.
No, let me go look. I'll have to look.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing that I'll mention that is somewhat confusing is that Purdue has two instances of the Simplicity database. So the CCO, Center for Career Opportunities, they have their instance of Simplicity database, which is a good place to post internships. It's a good place to post full-time jobs. The OPP has a separate instance, and actually this instance is actually being built up within our whole College of Engineering and potentially the whole university to keep track of students' experiential learning. So our instance of Simplicity has a lot of different features to keep track of what students have done within it, but it's also the place where students are going to be looking for co-op opportunities. So you like if you have an internship opportunity, the CCO is probably the place to go. If you have your co-op opportunities, it's here at the OPP. Unfortunately, those systems are not merged. I think maybe a few years down the line, our goal is to merge those systems into one. But for now, you may have to go to different places.
Joe, that's on the homepage here too. You can click on this My CCO link.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big one would be up here on your URL. Ours always says engineering-Purdue versus CCO will say Purdue-CSM if you get confused on which site you're on.
Yeah, and not to be confused, you don't only have to post co-ops for engineering students. It can be for other disciplines as well.
Okay.
I
You want
have
your screen back?
I have a question.
Sure.
Mhm.
Where you mark, Barb, the rotational and sequential, one or the other, our company's willing to do either. Can we click on both of those and just say that they can apply for either one, and we'd be happy to customize it to what they're interested in versus, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. No, I don't.
Because we currently have rotation. We have some that do rotational, and we also have some that are sequential. We just customize it to the student.
Well, you have to pick one or the other. I would go with whichever one is more prevalent within your company. And then down in the description, you could add a note that the subsequent would be an option, and that they ask the student to bring that up in a discussion with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I might even default to the idea of it being rotational, because that's kind of been what we've done for a long period of time. And it's not actually that odd that companies will hire for rotational co-ops and then extend the student for, they say they hired him in the summer and then they say, hey, can you keep working with us in the fall? And that works out. So, yeah.
Okay. And then I have a second question, and you may want to talk about this later, is we're willing to work with students remotely. Like we would probably the first time around, we would have them here on site, but as they get more familiar with our work, particularly in the development piece, that is something that they can do, in West Lafayette. So is there any way, I guess we go back to the description and just put it in there?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
As we're going through the different, like the Delta variant, and we don't know what's going on, if you know up front that it's a remote position, I've been recommending that the employers put that in the position type or in the title, right down here in the job title.
Gotcha. Okay.
If it's something that might be a case by case, depending, on how things go in your area, and or maybe it's always offered, you're correct. I would put it down in the description.
Okay, super. Thank you for the feedback.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Barb, you want to stop sharing and then I'll take
There you
over.
go.
Awesome. So something I'd like to show everyone is on our website. We've kind of done a little bit of revamping, rebranding, if you will, on our actual kind of whole web space. So our website's still opp.purdue.edu. It just looks a little different. You can see, you know, things that we've got going on. You can click here and read our annual report, which I would totally do if you get time. What I want to show you in particular is this page that we've set up for employers as kind of a resource and guide. So we've got students were asking us like, hey, who's recently hired people in my major? So we created this list, and if you're not on it, like, don't fret based on major, right? It's just, we went through and we were like, in the last few months, really updated who's been hired, where have they been. We'll keep updating this accordingly, just to give students kind of an idea of who they could work with. And then also on this page, you'll find some video talking about gear, master list. I know I had been asked about average co-op salaries. We made a little page here just kind of showing monthly what the average co-op is making in each discipline. So you can kind of get a gauge and line up with your company what this looks like. There are all the different forms here. This is a really excellent example of an offer letter. It's very black and white, right? So it tells you exactly, session 1, you'll be paid this. Session 2, you'll be paid this. Here's what we're going to pay for housing.
So an offer letter in case that you can offer multiple sessions in the offer.
Yes. Yes. It's awesome. Great example there. I know a lot of people ask about diversity in recruitment. This is a list that one of our students put together of all of the different diverse student organizations at Purdue and their contacts of student presidents of these different kind of areas. If you're looking to diversify and expand, here's a whole slew where you can look through, as well as our employer statement of understanding, and then our new sponsorship template, which is located here as well, learning about the different levels. So we've got our Black, Gold, and Platinum levels. We'd love to have you as a sponsor. And I think something really new that we're excited about, Joe mentioned earlier in our staffing structure that we have hired on a group of student TAs. And we thought, how neat would it be to have employer named scholarships awarded? So you could be like the GETA or the insert, you know, company here TA. So there are multiple opportunities to be able to do that, different benefits, different perks based on which level you choose. And then I wanted to show you too, and I'm happy to share this as well. Let me pull it up here. This document, a lot of times when people are donating or providing funding for things, you don't always see, is this showing my screen? Do you see the
Yep.
PDF?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't always see like where the money's going. So we wanted to be really intentional to create this space and write down, hey, here's exactly where our funding's going. So to professional development for students, to student employment, scholarships, job performance enhancement, awards and recognition, and technical skills. And putting all these things together are multiple puzzle pieces of what makes our office successful. And we definitely can't do it without your support. So we appreciate those of you who've been sponsors and would love to build and add more as we continue to grow. Our office is definitely doing really good things, getting recognized by the university, growing among students, and something that we're really proud of, and we're really grateful for all of your help with as well.
Yeah, I would just add, so I mean, you definitely don't have to be a sponsor to work with us. We want students to be able to do co-op and work with your companies, so there's no fee to pay to work with us. But if you do want to be able to help students at a high level, I think our sponsorship program is pretty good, because we are dedicating the majority of the funds pretty much going directly to students. It's going to our student clubs and organizations, the professional practice ambassadors and the gear ambassadors. We are dedicating now for each sponsorship a certain number of scholarships directly to students, and there'll be the scholarship will be awarded in our sponsor's name. And additionally, as Jenny said, we are beefing up the number of student employees that we're hiring to be mentors to help students with their professional skills, and to basically help be sort of peer mentors in co-op and get more students interested in co-op programs. We have 10 students hired this year. We'd love to even increase that number in upcoming years to 20 students. The money that we get from sponsors helps to pay for that. And as Jenny mentioned, at our, I think our highest level, we will have a company named TA for the year, which should be a cool way of getting visibility. So with that, I think that's what we wanted to present.
Yeah, and sorry, one more thing. We did create a space on LinkedIn. We created 2 groups. One is called Co-op Alumni and Friends, and one is called Gear Alumni and Friends. And in those spaces, we just wanted to be intentional. We're going to invite, all of our students, and we want you guys to be part of that too. You can put job postings in there, opportunities, internships, whatever it might be. Just a nice place for Purdue people to connect with your companies, with your spaces, etc. You can search it and it'll come right up. I think I can actually add links to it in our chat here, so I will if you'd like to join. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that we've created that space.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about it too is hopefully it's a space that I know a lot of you are co-op alums of Purdue and now working for your companies in that respect. Hopefully it's a place where our co-op alums can also be able to meet and gather. And sometimes I know maybe you have full-time jobs and things like that you would love to have co-op students, co-op alums look at. This would be a nice space to be able to post those type of opportunities.
Can you send out to the participants a copy of the PowerPoint presentation from today?
Yeah, and
Definitely.
we're actually recording this, so we'll be able to put this on our YouTube channel and send that back so you can refer to this as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I think with that, we wanted to open it up to see if you have any questions or comments about anything that we're doing, and also love to hear comments and feedback about your company's plans for recruiting students. As you know, our co-op recruitment days is generally our big fair is in February. We're kind of in the process of thinking about how we want to do this. Do we want to do it in person? Well, ideally, we do want to have it in person, but having it be indoors, we don't know what type of restrictions or protocols that there may be. We likely will probably have to have some sort of virtual option. We want to know if your companies are allowing travel even. So that type of feedback might be good as well. So open it up for anybody who wants to give some sort of feedback.
Well, we are getting ready to participate in multiple co-op job fairs. They are face-to-face, but each one of the schools is doing the social distancing. And so they are occupying multiple floors and putting people in, like the engineering group is on one floor, and the liberal arts is on another floor. Typically, they would be merged together. So I think the schools are practicing social distancing, but I think that they have much more success when they're face-to-face versus virtual because of all the technology issues and that kind of thing. So all the schools that we recruit at are all going back face-to-face, and we will be participating.
Good to hear.
Hey, Joe, this is Tony from GE. Just to share where we're at, when you look across the company, it varies. So we're taking the lead that each university has presented to us. So for example, at Purdue, IRs, outside. So our team's planning to attend. We also, are planning to attend the business career fair, which is virtual. But again, taking the lead that the universities have presented to us is how we're doing it. So it's a mix. It's really a hybrid across the country. I could go university after university and tell you a little bit about each one, but the simple way to put it is it's hybrid. We're working with each university. We're also really taking a step back and understanding from an employee standpoint and making sure that, if they feel comfortable doing it, that's great. If they don't, there's other ways they can engage. So it's a work in progress. And, even between now and the middle of the month, end of the month in October, we anticipate there's going to be some fluctuations and some pivots that we'll need to make.
Thanks, Tony.
You bet.
Hi, Joe, it's Melissa. Hey, from the GE Appliances standpoint, similar in some ways to how, formal GE is going, we are very much hybrid in the sense that we are being school driven. So where a school is offering a virtual alternative, as a business, we're choosing to go that route from a safety of our employees perspective. But if a school does not offer an in-person, or if they only offer in person, then we are leaving it up to that recruiting team. One, are you comfortable going? Two, are you comfortable traveling? All those things. We do have requirements in place, and anybody who does travel must be fully vaccinated. Even if they are, we are still requiring them from a company standpoint to wear a mask while they're physically present on campus. And I think the reality is between now and February, who knows what might happen. My hope is in February we are there and everything's normal, but we are going the hybrid route and kind of really relying on the school, whatever the school is going with. We're doing our best to support the university and engage with the students as best we can.
Sounds good.
Joe, I just wanted to mention on this while we're, one of the things that we were concerned about is when we compare the two is IR is outside and you have that natural airflow and can deal with that. When we put everybody in a room and then we have a mask on, we were a little concerned about if you feel like you're going to be able to communicate well and how that's going to go. I realize everybody doesn't have an answer now, but maybe over the next couple of weeks, if you would all feel free to email me, give me a thought on what your preference would be for in February, when we do PPD days, that would really be appreciated. We'll be planning that out here pretty soon.
Well, great. We have maybe just a couple more minutes left. If anybody has any other feedback or anything that they want to share, please do. Okay, well, if not, then I guess thank you all for coming. Really appreciate your support. Appreciate the opportunities that you're giving to our students here at Purdue, and looking forward to keep working with you and growing our partnerships.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.